Hey, what is up, everybody? Eric Thayne here from Cinema Mastery, and welcome to this webinar, How to Make Cinematic Films and Get High-Paying Clients Without Buying Expensive Gear. We are live and ready to go. We got people logging in. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Thank you for being here today. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited about this. Let me know in the chat. Are you excited? What are you guys looking forward to? Let me know where you're from. Where are you from? City and state or country if you're from outside the United States. Let me know in the chat. Where's everybody from? Where's everybody logging in from to watch this webinar today? Ura is excited. We got Madava, yay. New York City, New York, Brooklyn, New York. Wow, everybody's from New York today. I love New York. Okay, so North Carolina, Minneapolis, Houston, Los Angeles, Nashville, Portland, Atlanta, Denver, New Jersey, Minnesota, Vacaville, Flint, Michigan, North Carolina, Chicago, New Jersey. What's up, guys? For everybody that's just signing in, feel free to let me know where you're from. You guys these are coming in too fast. I can't read them all. New York, Phoenix. I was born in Phoenix. Brooklyn, Chicago, Boca Beach, Brazil, Chi-Town, Tallahassee, Bronx, New York. Okay, you guys from all over the place. Awesome. Thank you so much for logging in today. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Once again, my name is Eric Thayne. We're going to be talking about some really cool stuff today as far as like how to make cinematic films, get high-paying clients, and do all this using the gear that you already have without buying expensive camera gear, right? Cool. Well, I'm glad you guys can hear me. Everything's good. Give me actually just real quick, make sure everybody can hear me. Obviously, you can hear me, but if you can see my screen, you can see my slides here on the screen. Give me a big yes in the chat. I want to make sure that everybody can see this. Everything's working really well, and as long as I get that big yes, I will go forward with this presentation. Okay, cool. We're good. We're good to go. All right, so just so you guys know, this is what we're talking about today, how to make cinematic films and get high-paying clients without buying expensive camera gear, okay? This presentation is going to be about an hour long. We will do Q&A at the end, so an hour to hour and a half-ish in there. Should be good. Just so you know, make sure to turn off any distractions before we get started. Turn off your cell phones, your anything else, move to a quiet room, wherever. We're going to be covering a lot of stuff today, and I'm going to be flying through it because I've got to be able to, I mean, an hour is not very long to get through a lot of stuff, but I want to give you as much as possible. So I'm going to be flying through so much stuff. You're going to want to be able to take notes. You're going to want to be able to pay attention and get what we're talking about today. If you're on a phone right now, I would recommend getting on a laptop if you can. I think the overall experience is better. It just tends to work better on a computer rather than a phone. So I would recommend that if you can. If you can't, it'll probably still work. But if you're able to, definitely try to do that. As far as the chat goes, you guys now are all familiar with how the chat works. Please be engaged. I like hearing from you guys. I like seeing your chat. I like chatting with you. I'm going to be asking you questions. I want to get your feedback. Be engaged in the chat. I like to see that. But at the same time, let's keep it related to what we're talking about. Let's not drift off and start talking about other things because it can be distracting for me. If you have questions, we will be doing Q&A at the end, so you can feel free to post them. However, while I'm giving the presentation, I probably won't be paying a lot of attention to the questions. So if you have questions, do me a favor and just hang on until the end. And just hold on to those till the end, and then when we get to the Q&A section, I can get all of those answered. Okay? Awesome, guys. Let's jump into this. Here we go. So today what we're going to be talking about is what I'm calling the 3 secrets, okay, of how to get cinematic-looking films and attract high-paying clients without buying expensive camera gear or using the camera gear that you already have. And these secrets are, number 1, how to give your films a cinematic look without upgrading your camera. Number 2, how to create a portfolio of high-end work that sells your services for you. And number 3, how to charge $10,000 and up for your work and get clients who will happily pay it. Now, this is what we're going to be covering today. I want to be really clear with you. I want to be right up front with you. I can't teach you everything in an hour. Like I said, I'm going to go through as much stuff as I possibly can. I'm going to try and fly through this as fast as I can to make sure that we're not wasting your time. But what I want to do is just try to give you the best information that I can for the next 60 minutes. And then after we talk about all this stuff, I'm going to be telling you about my cinematography school called Cinema Mastery. And for those of you that want to continue your learning beyond this webinar, I'm going to give you an amazing deal on Cinema Mastery. You guys are going to love this. And a lot of stuff that we're covering today comes straight from this course. So you're kind of getting a sneak peek into that, okay? And then at the very end today, I'm giving you guys a free gift. I'm going to give you this ebook for free, normally $47, but I'm giving it to you for free. These are the top 3 lighting techniques used by professionals in Hollywood today. It comes complete with explanations, diagrams, examples, everything you need to replicate these techniques in your cinematography today. So you'll get this free ebook if you stick around until the end. All right. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Eric Thayne, and I'm going to be really upfront with you here. Like, I'm not a famous or well-known successful filmmaker. You guys probably haven't heard of me before. I'm going to be totally real with you during this presentation. I don't want to try to convince you that I'm something that I'm not. And I'm learning just like anybody else. However, I have built a successful 6-figure production agency called Celadora. And we have clients that pay us anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 for a 1-minute commercial spot. And if I do say so myself, I think our work is pretty darn good. You can check out more of it if you're interested after the webinar at celadorastudios.com. And so what I did is at Celadora, we have this process that we go through, that we take our clients through and create these beautiful cinematic films for them. And I basically just took that process that we use at Celadora in my production company, and I developed this thing called Cinema Mastery, which is where I teach that process to other filmmakers, okay? So just a little background on me. My work has been featured by some of the most prestigious online content curators in the world. But if there's one thing I want you guys to take from this, is that I'm really just like you. Like, I did not come from money. I didn't get lucky really along the way. I kind of built this business from the ground up, and I want to show you how to do that and exactly how I did it as well. I'm not working for huge international brands most of the time. I work primarily in my local area. Besides occasionally doing travel gigs, we've been around the US, we've been around the world occasionally, but for the most part, we're working in our local area, just like you guys are. And we make a good living doing it. So I am legit. I do this professionally, but if I can do it, so can you. And that's what I want to kind of get across here. So if you've been worried in the past that you can't be successful as a filmmaker, or that you're just not cut out for this for some reason or another, I want to put those fears to rest. You can do this. You just need the right person to explain it to you. And today I'm going to show you how. So first off, a little background on me, because one question that I get asked all the time is, how did you get started? And so I want to share that with you real quick. So I've been making videos ever since I was a kid, as you can see here. In fact, I remember when I was about 11 years old, I had a really good friend that I would make videos with pretty much every day after school. And my parents had this old camcorder that we would play with all the time, one you can see here. And you actually had to put tapes in it and rewind and fast forward and make sure you weren't recording over anything. Some of you guys probably know what I'm talking about. But since we couldn't, we were just 11, we couldn't go out and just buy something else. We had to use what we had and make the best of it. And we got really creative with it. We could make all sorts of superhero and alien movies, and we had to be really creative about how we used the features of the camera to create special effects that looked like what we had seen in the movies, or so we thought. And so we got really creative with how we used the camera. And, that was just for fun. I did that when I was younger, but it wasn't until a few years ago, actually in 2013, that I started doing videos seriously as a business. Now, a couple of years after that, in 2015, a few years ago, I was a recently graduated art student. I had just barely married my wife. I'd been running a small freelance video business for a couple of years, doing weddings, music videos, commercial work. And unfortunately, though, I wasn't making enough to support myself, let alone my wife. So she also had to work a full-time job. And probably like a lot of you guys, I had these dreams of becoming a well-known filmmaker. And I wanted to be able to create a thriving business so that my wife wouldn't have to work and we could just start our family. The problem is I was only getting jobs sporadically. Most of them didn't pay very well. So I wasn't able to make enough to support her, let alone a new baby, which we wanted to have kids. And I was kind of embarrassed. And I felt like I had failed as a husband. I wanted to be the breadwinner for the family, but my wife was working 40 hours a week while I was out trying to live my dream. And for some reason, I was only getting clients that were like friends of mine, and I couldn't get them to pay me more than a few $100 for a video usually. I tried raising my prices, but then I would lose my clients and they would go and hire somebody else. How many of you guys feel like you've been in that situation, or you're in that situation right now where you're trying to raise your rates, you're trying to charge more, build your business, but like everybody keeps bringing you back down to just like a few $100 for your video. Or if you're like in a little bit higher level, maybe it's just a few thousand, but you can't break out of that. Okay, good. I hope some of you guys are, understand, like, you guys know what that's like, right? So by the end of 2015, my business was $7,000 in debt. We were living off of my wife's income. I felt like I was stuck in this huge rut that maybe you guys have been in before. And in fact, I remember doing this one video this year that I put hours and hours of work into. I was filming until 1 a.m., 2 nights in a row, and then I spent more hours and hours editing, and I only got paid $500 for it. So yeah, I'm just watching the chat. Like, you guys have been there, right? You've been in this rut, or maybe you're in it now. And a few years ago in 2015, like, I thought I was doing the right things, but it turns out that I did so many things wrong. Looking back on it, I royally screwed up 2015. But then everything changed, right? One day I got this text from my father-in-law with a video that another videographer had made for a company. He wanted to know what I thought of the video, so he sent it over to me, and I watched it. And honestly, this video, like, the acting was kind of cheesy, the videography wasn't very good, the music choice wasn't the best. I knew that I probably could have done a better job if they had hired me to do the video. So I told my father-in-law what I thought. I just said, I explained those thoughts to him, said, this is kind of what I think of the video. And what he responded to me completely changed my life. He said, they paid $10,000 for that video. And I couldn't believe it. Like, here was a client in Utah that had paid what seemed like a fortune to me for a video that I felt like I could have done much better for even half the cost. And at first I was a little bit annoyed and a little bit jealous that the videographer had made so much money from this job. But this experience actually created a paradigm shift in my head that completely changed my business. Have you guys ever had this experience where you maybe seen a video that somebody else did, that somebody else got hired for, but you think that you probably could have done a better job for even half the cost? It's kind of frustrating, right? When this happened, and I had multiple experiences like that, and I started realizing that a lot of videographers out there are actually making a lot of money doing corporate work. But the problem is that I felt like all of their videos looked the same, and I didn't love the type of work that they were creating. Now, don't get me wrong, I wanted to make money to support myself and my family, but I really didn't want to sell out and start making cheesy corporate videos just to make money. I had this vision. I wanted to make these beautiful videos that could inspire people and make them feel something, just like the movies do. So I knew there had to be a way to use the concepts that make movies look so amazing and apply those to commercial work. I started studying everything I could about how movies are lit. I was watching movies. I watched how they frame the camera, how they move it, everything. I was like a sponge. I began watching movies very critically and paying attention to what were the core things that really made those movies cinematic and what things were maybe less important. And in a way, I was starting to hack the cinematography of these movies and these high-end commercials that I was watching, or reverse engineer them. And then I started applying those concepts to my own work. Now, the hard part was that it seemed like there was nobody out there who would just teach me these concepts. So I ended up wasting a lot of my time trying to figure them out on my own. However, with time, I started figuring it out. And I took those concepts, I made a few videos for my portfolio for free, and suddenly I started getting attention like I'd never had before. I remember getting a text from one of my friends. He said, "Hey, my wife and I just watched your most recent video." And my wife said, "Wow, Eric's getting really good at this," which, is kind of funny. Like there's a hidden compliment in there, right? But it's kind of an indicator to me that, like, people were starting to notice my work. And the hard part now was that I had to figure out how to get clients. So the next client I talked to, I told them I would charge $5,000, which was way more than I had ever charged before. And they actually accepted. And then I did a project for $9,000, and then one for $11,000, and then $15,000. Some of these companies were even firing the videographers that they'd used for years and hiring me instead. And I even had a few go to their boss and ask for an increase in budget so they could work with me. So things started changing like crazy. And in 2016, for the first time in my life, I made over $100,000 in 1 year. And it wasn't just about the money. I remember vividly the first time I made a video, and then watching it afterwards, I literally couldn't believe that I had made that. I was actually proud of my work. And that's really satisfying as a filmmaker. You guys know what I'm talking about, or as a creative in general, being able to create work that you look at and you're happy with and you're proud of is just one of the best feelings. And so because in our business, we were getting higher paying clients, my wife was able to quit her job and become a full-time mom. I was able to spend more time with my family because I didn't have to do so many projects to pay the bills. And we ended up traveling to 12 foreign countries in 2016. So this is kind of what happened with me. And I wanted other filmmakers to be able to learn this process that I discovered that so quickly and easily can transform your cinematography and multiply your business. So that's why I created Cinema Mastery, so that other filmmakers wouldn't have to just figure this stuff out, but instead I could just teach them. And that's why we're here today. Within the first year of starting Cinema Mastery, it absolutely blew up. We had hundreds of people sign up and they started getting amazing results in their own work. So now today in this webinar, I want to show you some of what I teach in Cinema Mastery and show you how it can literally change your life the way it did mine. Okay. Are you guys okay with that? That's just a little bit about kind of how I got started, where I came from. Now we're going to go into a little more of the nitty gritty cinematography stuff. How many of you guys are excited about it? And let's get going with it. Let me get a drink real quick. Dolores says, I can barely enjoy a movie without dissecting the special effects. Yeah, I know. You can't even watch movies anymore without paying attention to the lighting and stuff. Okay, awesome, guys. Let's jump into it. Well, here we go. Okay, so I told you, here we go. This is what we're going to cover today. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes or so talking about this. Secret number one. These 3 secrets, okay? Secret number 1, how to give your films a cinematic look without upgrading your camera. Okay, first of all, what does cinematic mean? Now, this is a word that gets thrown around a lot. If you watch YouTube videos, which I'm sure you guys have, watch YouTube videos, you read blog articles, you look at other sources for learning cinematography, you're going to hear this word a lot. Cinematic. Everybody's talking about cinematic. I want to make my videos look more cinematic. Well, what does cinematic actually mean? I looked up the definition, and cinematic is having qualities characteristic of motion pictures. So what cinematic means basically is that it is the qualities and characteristics of cinema. It means that your video looks like cinema, or it looks like a movie. So if your cinematography is cinematic, it means that it looks like it looks like a movie. It's what we relate to movie. We look at it and we say, hey, that looks like a movie. Okay, that's cinematic. You've probably had this experience before, but like when you're scrolling through Facebook or something, there's like tons of video content that you're scrolling past, just like standard videography that you see everywhere, right? But then have you guys ever had the experience where you're scrolling through this stuff and suddenly a movie trailer pops up and just like out of nowhere, it catches your attention and kind of like interrupts your daily pattern? It stops you and you just kind of pay attention to it. That is like that cinematic look, right? It's undeniably beautiful. It catches your attention. And guess what? It's also, if you can do it with your own work, it's going to catch your client's attention as well. So that's why I advocate so much creating cinematic films, especially when you're doing commercial work, or even if you're shooting short films or narratives, feature films. Creating that look is going to help your videos look more professional. It's going to catch people's attention, and it's going to help you get more attention, which means you get more clients, and your clients will actually be willing to pay more for it because it feels like a premium product, because it feels like a movie, right? Now, the biggest reason that filmmakers can't get clients or think that there's too much competition out there is usually because their work isn't unique. And so when you can figure out how to create work that looks cinematic, you kind of elevate your work to a higher level, and you realize that all of that changes. The cinematic look is like a puzzle. Now, there's a lot of people out there that will try to convince you that there's, one thing that will make your video look cinematic. They say, use this camera or this lens to get a cinematic look. They say, put this LUT on your footage in color grading and post, and it'll make your video look cinematic. And I see this stuff all the time, and it just bugs me. This is actually one of the reasons why I started Cinema Mastery, because I kept seeing stuff like this, and it's just dead wrong. It's misleading. There isn't just one thing that makes your videos look cinematic. It's actually like a puzzle. As you put a puzzle together, as you put pieces into a puzzle, you actually create this image, right? And I feel like the cinematic look comes from that. It's a bunch of puzzle pieces that come together, and as you put those pieces together, you start to construct this cinematic look. Now, these puzzle pieces, there's a lot of them, right? But it's things like your camera settings, your composition, lighting, your camera and lenses. Even like the camera and the lenses you use do have an effect on the look of your films, right? And so when I was learning cinematography, I spent a lot of my time dedicated to learning what these puzzle pieces are. This is what I was studying as I was watching movies. What are the things that actually make this movie or this video look cinematic? Okay. And I've taken those things and I've basically grouped them into 5 categories. Okay. So cinematic look, 5 categories are: 1, camera settings. Okay. So you get the right movement in your image and the proper exposure. Very important. Number 2 are what I call shooting fundamentals. So this is things like composition, focal length, camera movement, things like that. Just the fundamentals of shooting in general. Now, real quick note about camera settings. This is one thing that every time I bring this up and I start teaching it to people, they always scoff at it. Like, oh, I know the camera settings. I know you're supposed to shoot 24 frames per second, blah, 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 blah. And yet when I look at their work and I'm analyzing, I'm helping them kind of go through and detect problems in their work, it always comes back to these things. Surprisingly, like the camera settings, I know they're simple, but they are so foundational in your cinematography. So it's worth studying heavily to get just right so that you know how to work with any camera to be able to create this look. Okay. So then we have shooting fundamentals. Number 3 is lighting. Okay. You guys probably know this already, but lighting is absolutely enormous. I think that lighting takes you at least 50% of the way there, if not more. Lighting is absolutely essential for getting a cinematic look. Number 4, production design. So shooting in the right location, knowing how to arrange the objects in the scene to be visually appealing, create good color contrast in your scenes, composition, everything. There's so much that goes into this. It's really important. And then number 5 is post-production. So you're editing, your color grading, your sound design, and more. Okay. So let me show you how this works real quick. Here is an image that I shot of my wife just sitting here in like a normal sit-down talking head interview type situation. Okay, I didn't do anything with the camera, anything with the scene at all. We're just turning on the camera and start shooting. Okay, this is with nothing done to it. Now I chose this kind of setting because I know this is something that filmmakers end up shooting a lot, is these talking heads or interviews. It's just something that you end up doing. And if you haven't, you will be doing this. So we're going to kind of go through exactly step by step how to make this look more cinematic. Okay. So this is the original image. The first thing that we're going to do, obviously, we've got some problems here with the exposure. We've got windows blowing out in the background. Some things happening here, like everything's in focus. It's a little bit grainy and noisy. It's not looking great. So we're going to, first of all, set our camera settings. So we're going to add an ND filter so that we can lower our aperture, which is going to give us a little bit shallower depth of field. As you notice, it kind of throws the background out of focus just ever so slightly. We're going to see that get pushed a little bit more. We've decreased our ISO, so we're not getting so much grain in the image. And it's also giving us a little bit more dynamic range in the shadows, having that low ISO. Okay. Now, next thing is we're shooting on a wide lens right now. And so for something like this, and for most things, typically you want to shoot on a little bit longer lens. So we're going to switch to a 50mm lens. This is going to give us, just a more cinematic look. It's going to give us more natural shape to the subject's face. You get less barrel distortion. And again, we're adding a little bit shallower, even a little bit more shallow depth of field. So we're throwing that background out of focus. Okay. Next up, obviously, we're a little bit close to her, so we're going to back up the camera a little bit, get a better frame on the subject. And then the next thing I want to do is actually move the subject away from the background. And what this does, again, is it's helping us to create a little bit more shallow depth of field, throw the background out of focus a little bit more, which creates nice separation, kind of helps the talent pop off the screen a little bit, creates more depth, and just in general looks nicer. Okay. Now you'll notice that we've got, her head's getting cut off a little bit. So the next thing we're going to do is compose the subject with proper headroom. And we're also going to put her like slightly off center. There's nothing wrong with centering your images. And sometimes you can create really cool symmetry. But in a lot of situations, especially with something like this, with a talking head or an interview where her eyeline is going off to the right of the camera, you want her to be at least slightly off center. You could go even a little bit further, but that's just a matter of taste. It's just going to give you a more natural looking composition here. Okay. And then while we're at it and we're doing a little bit of composition, I'm going to go ahead and crop this image to a wider aspect ratio. This wide aspect ratio is something that just we automatically, to our eyes, automatically looks more cinematic because most movies are shot on anamorphic lenses, which are always wider, and we won't get into exactly why that is. But by doing this, by cropping the image to a wider aspect ratio, it naturally makes us think of it's kind of like imitating that one element at least of that anamorphic look that helps us kind of make it look more cinematic. Okay, so we're going to do that. Next up is lighting, right? So we've got kind of this nasty lighting coming from the fluorescent lights above. So we're gonna go ahead and turn those off. You'll notice as I go back that, they're kind of green. We're getting some nasty lighting from there. We're gonna turn those off so that we're using our own lights and a little bit of natural light in the background. And then we're gonna go ahead and add our own key light to this image, okay? Now, this is how most beginners, I think, approach lighting their scenes. They simply take a light, point it at the subject, and you're done. But did you know that probably 90% or maybe even more of scenes in Hollywood movies are shot with the key light coming from the back? This is a thing called reverse key lighting, and it makes a huge difference. So we're going to go ahead and move our key to the back of our subject, and it looks like this. Now, what happens here? Well, we've got a lot of really good things happening here. You'll notice as we go back to the first image when the light was on the front that her face looks really flat. And by moving our key light to the back of the subject and letting the shadows come forward, we're actually creating a lot of contrast and a lot more shape to the face. It looks so much more three-dimensional, so much more professional, and so much more cinematic. So this light is now off camera right, off the screen to the right, and a little bit to her side and behind her, okay? So coming that direction, okay? Now, next up, the next thing that I want to do is one more thing that this reverse key lighting does, which is really nice, is that it actually helps eliminate some of that unwanted spill on the background. So you notice here that you can see it really well in the computer screen on the back right, that we're getting a lot of light on that computer screen, but because we're lighting towards the subject, then all that light is spilling onto the background, right? Which is you want to be able to control that light, and so it doesn't look as nice. When you light from the reverse side, you're actually lighting towards the camera, which means you're getting rid of that, which makes the background a little bit dimmer, makes this side of her face is lit better, and now she's getting that separation from the background that just kind of makes her pop off the screen, creates a lot of depth, and really, really good stuff happening here, okay? So next up is what I'm going to do is I'm going to add something called negative fill, which is basically just a black solid on the left side of camera, which is going to create a little bit more contrast on her face. Okay, and this is something that you can use, as much or as little as you want, depending on the look that you're going for. But in this situation, since we're going for a more dramatic look, we're going to add that, which is going to give us a little bit more contrast in the image. Okay, it's kind of cutting off that reflection from the wall on the left, so it's not bouncing back and hitting her in the face. And again, we're getting, another benefit of that is we're kind of blocking off light from the background. You notice that the computer is getting a little bit darker, again, helping create that separation and that depth in the image. Okay. And then next up, we still got kind of some light coming through the blinds here. It's a little bit clipping, kind of blowing out some highlights. So we're going to go ahead and shut those blinds a little bit, which basically is just going to create a little bit texture back there, and then we're not going to worry about it too much. Kind of looks nice like that. Next, going into a little bit of production design. Obviously, our background is really messy. We've got a lot of stuff happening back there. So we're just going to clean it up. The desk. So this is a desk that you can move up and down. It's in a really weird spot, like kind of cutting her head in half, which feels really awkward, and it's leaving this really awkward space underneath the desk. And so I've gone ahead and moved it down so that it feels a little bit more natural in the space. And then I've cleaned up the desk so that it looks clean and nothing in the background that is distracting us in the scene. And then we're going to go ahead and turn on the monitors. This is just kind of a nice effect to add some texture to the background. Again, we're talking about production design. And, you don't usually think about this type of stuff, but what's happening in the background of the shot actually makes a difference in how the image looks. Okay, so you can see before and after there. And then the last thing that we need to do this image, the last thing we need to do is do a little bit of post-production and some color grading, color correction and color grading. This image is looking a little bit warm. Our whites are not quite white, but we want to color correct it, and then we want to give it a interesting look. Okay, the colors are very standard right now. So I've gone ahead and done that, and we're going to create a little bit of color contrast, give a little bit more cinematic look, and then and just make it look a little bit more interesting. So there it is. Okay, pretty amazing, right? The difference that we've made. Now let's go back and look at our before image, okay? So this was our before image. This is what we started with. And then we went to this. Okay, here's a little bit of before and after so you guys can see kind of what we did here. Now, the coolest thing about what I've just showed you here is that this can be done with any camera. Notice that nowhere in that process did I say shoot on a red or shoot on an Arri or a cinema camera, or that you have to have specific lenses to make this happen. Because everything that we just did has nothing to do with the camera gear, and it can be done on any camera. In fact, I didn't tell you guys this yet, but both of these scenes, all of this stuff that you just saw, was shot on a Canon T5i, which is a $500 camera, $500 for the body and the kit lens. It's one of the cheapest DSLRs that you can get on the market. And look at the difference, right? Everything that we did had nothing to do with the camera. Okay, this wasn't shot on a high-end cinema camera. Okay, so here's the thing. If your images, I'm kind of getting down to the kicker here. If your images don't look as good as this one that I'm showing you, that I shot on a $500 camera, then you don't need to be shooting on a nicer camera. And you can save yourself a lot of money by learning how to do this. I kind of went through a similar experience of learning this. I used to shoot on a Canon 5D Mark III. And at one point, Canon announced this camera, the C100 Mark II. And when this came out, when they announced this, I was like, I've got to get this camera. Okay, this is going to be the next step for me from a Canon 5D up into my first cinema camera. I couldn't wait to get it. I put down a pre-order. I was like, this camera is going to be awesome. I'm finally going to get that cinematic look because I'm shooting on a cinema camera with some cinema lenses, and it's just going to look amazing. I put a lot of money into this, more money than I should have ever invested at this point in my career. It was like $6,000 or $7,000 to get this camera, and that was a lot of money for me at the time. And finally, a few months later, the camera came. I got out of the box. I took it out and I started shooting with it. And I got to tell you, the first images that I shot on this camera really looked bad. Like, they were really bad. I even sent the camera back to Canon and I said, hey, I think there's something wrong with this camera. It's not giving me the cinematic look that I'm looking for. And they did their tests and whatever, and they sent it back and said, no, there's actually nothing wrong with the camera. It's totally fine. And I was a little bit bugged. But the thing is, it kind of bugged me at that time. But over time, I continued using this camera and I started creating really good images with it. And I realized eventually that it wasn't the camera that was making my images look bad. It was me. Because my videos had looked better on the 5D, a camera that was less than half the cost of the C100. And the reason is because when I bought the C100, I expected it to kind of do the work for me. So I kind of let my guard down and stopped doing what I knew how to do. I forgot about lighting. I forgot about composition because I expected this cinema camera to look cinematic no matter what I pointed it at. But it doesn't work like that. Now I love the C100. Okay, this is kind of where I learned that it really is not the camera that makes the look. And because now I know that it's not the camera that makes the images, it's the filmmaker. It's completely changed everything for me. Now, in our commercial work, we mostly shoot on red now, but I do occasionally like to go back and shoot on cheaper cameras, sometimes just to show what can be done with them, like this example that I just showed you on the T5i. And if you look at my YouTube channel, there's a couple videos there where I shoot on like iPhones or other low-end DSLRs, because I just want to show what can be done with these cameras if you really pay attention to what's in front of the camera and not the camera itself. And if you can really internalize this philosophy, it will save you a lot of money, because everything that I'm teaching you today can be done with the camera gear that you already own. If you just stop focusing on the camera and focus on learning real cinematography techniques. Now, quick disclaimer here. This is not to say that you should be shooting on a DSLR for the rest of your career. If you guys are already shooting on a C100 or a cinema camera, Red or something else, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are shooting on a DSLR, there will come a time where you will want to upgrade to higher end cinema cameras and lenses. There's a good reason for it. Now, like I said, we shoot on Red for most of our commercial work, but what I'm trying to say is that just upgrading your camera will not make you a better cinematographer. So if you're not happy with the images you're currently getting, then buying a newer, better, shinier camera is not going to fix that. Okay? So there's secret number one, how to give your films a cinematic look without upgrading your camera. What did you guys think of that? Was that good? Did you guys enjoy that? Are you excited to move on to secret number two? Who's excited to go home right now and to try this with your camera? Who's already doing it, not paying attention, and trying it with your camera during the webinar? Awesome, guys. Cool. Okay, well, let's go on to secret number two. Secret number two, how to create a portfolio. You guys are awesome. You're cracking me up. How to create a portfolio of high-end work that sells your services for you. So now that you've learned how to create a cinematic look without having to spend money on new camera gear, the next step is to build a portfolio of high-end work that you can use to pitch to potential clients. Okay. And this secret and the next secret are pretty simple and straightforward. Okay. We spend most of our time on the first one because I think that's the most important. The next step is to help you build a high-end portfolio that you can pitch to potential clients. Now, you might be thinking, well, Eric, but how can I create a portfolio of high-end work if I don't have high-end clients? And the answer to that is that you're going to do work for free. Now, before you freak out and say, oh, I can't do work for free because I got to make money, this is more common than you think, okay? So this is often referred to as doing what is called spec work or passion projects. But the main idea here is that you get to work on your own terms without anybody telling you what to do. And guess what? You can do the work for any brand you want. You guys ever wonder how that favorite cinematographer of yours has all that big, well-known brands in their portfolio and that kind of thing? Well, I'm not saying that this is always the case, but more often than not, what you're looking at is spec work, which means that these are actually personal projects that were made to look like they were done for a big brand. But in reality, the filmmaker did it on their own dime without the company even knowing. Every successful DP or director I know does this. And no, it's not dishonest or deceitful. It's just a really smart way of marketing your work to bigger clients and showing them what you can do. The first time that I did a spec job like this was a really big turning point in my career. This project was for a really high-end luxury hotel brand up in Park City, Utah. Now, before this project, I was like any beginner filmmaker, doing everything I could think of to get my work out there and to raise my rates. I tried marketing my work to people. I tried charging high rates for it, but nobody would bite. And really the reason why I think this happened and I was stuck here, and why a lot of filmmakers are stuck here, maybe you guys feel the same way, is because quite frankly, my work looked like everybody else's. I was producing standard videography that looked like what everybody else was doing. So then this luxury hotel came to me, and I got put in touch with them. And they came to me and said, hey, we want to shoot a video like this. And we have, and they came to me with like pretty low budget. Okay, it was a $3,000 budget. Now, this would have been the most that I had ever made on a project to date. Okay. So it wasn't, it was like kind of in that medium range, right? But the problem is I hadn't done anything really that amazing up until this point because I never had the budget. And so I had two choices with this. Basically, I could take the $3,000 and pocket it and go and make another video that was just like all the other videos that I had made before. Not very good, not that interesting. Or I could take that $3,000 and plug all of that into the production and make it the best thing that I had ever done. Because finally, here was a budget that actually gave me what I needed to be able to get the camera and the gear and the people that I wanted in order to create the vision that I had in my head. So I decided that I was going to do the job, that I wasn't going to make any money on it. And it ended up being the best piece of work that I've ever done. And people started reaching out to me after this video because of this video. And like I said earlier, my next client was $5,000, then $9,000, $11,000, $15,000, and everything took off from this point in my career. When I look back at my growth path over the last few years. It all started from this point when I did this video for free. And it wasn't just this once. I've done passion projects like this over and over again since then. And they've continued to bring me high paying work. Every time it always brings me new contacts and people that I end up talking to that produces new clients. And even this company, who said that they didn't have more than $3,000 for a video just a few years ago, is now actually at this very moment paying me $15,000 for a video that's almost the exact same thing. Okay, so why does this work? Why does this idea of spec work and passion projects work? And why does every successful DP and director do this? Well, number one, consistent quality is the best way to start getting attention for your work. All right, just putting a video out there once that's quality doesn't people see that and they might be impressed, but they might think that it's just a fluke. Like maybe you got lucky, or maybe you had somebody else on set with you that was helping you, or something's a little bit different. It's because it's better than most of your work, right? But if you can do it consistently, time after time, month after month, producing this quality work that you don't have clients telling you what to do, because often, let's face it, sometimes the clients want you to do things that make the video not as good as what you think it can be. And in this situation, you don't have that because you're completely in control. So when you can produce that consistently, that is the best way to start getting attention for your work. Number two, the response that you get to your work will be completely different. It's amazing how producing this higher quality work just changes the way people react to your work. And number three, you start building a portfolio that is only your best work, so that your portfolio is, rather than being just a collection of past work that you've done, it's now a specifically designed portfolio, a specifically tailored portfolio that you design to attract your ideal client. Okay. So that's secret number two. Okay. How to create a portfolio of high-end work that sells your services for you. And again, this is something that everybody out there is doing. All the successful people that I know, directors and DPs, are doing this constantly. Okay. But the idea here is that you will get high-paying clients for your work. Okay, I don't want you to be doing free work for the rest of your life. But in order to take this passion project and turn it into high-paying clients, that's never going to happen unless you know how to price your work. So secret number three, we're getting into this: how to charge $10,000 and up for your work and get clients who will happily pay it. So now that you've learned how to work with the gear you own, and you've built an amazing portfolio of work that's getting a lot of attention, and you have phone calls coming in, you've got people talking to you, now the most important thing is to know how to price your work. And here's the thing, guys. Good work does not necessarily equal good pay. You have to realize that just by making good work and putting it out there doesn't mean that clients are going to come to you begging to pay you lots of money for your work. All right, it just doesn't work that way. I know that's like the dream, like I'm just going to put work out there and people are going to come to me. That's not actually how it works. There are so many filmmakers out there who are amazing at what they do, just incredible filmmakers who are still just barely getting by, and vice versa. There's filmmakers out there, unfortunately, that are not as good at what they do, who are making a lot of money. So the truth is, if you don't know how to price and sell your work, you could have the best portfolio in the world and never make a penny more than what you're making now. So here's my really quick, dirty formula for how to do it. First of all, you have to know your worth. All right. Let me just quick check for all of you guys. You are a talented human being. You are worth money. Your work is worth money, and you should only work with people who also believe that. One of the biggest questions that I get asked all the time is, how do I know what to charge? And I want to share this with you. I'm going to share with you a really quick formula here that will tell you exactly how to charge for your work. Okay. The first thing, quick overview here. The first thing that you need to do is calculate what you need. All right. What are your monthly expenses? What do you need to run a business? Because a lot of people talk about, making $10,000 per video or $20,000 or $5,000 or whatever it is. But like in reality, it all comes down to, what do you need to survive? What is your rent like? What are your groceries like every month? What do you want for entertainment? And not just everything you need to survive, but then build in a little bit extra so that you can live a comfortable lifestyle. So calculate what you need in order to survive and thrive, right? Next, in your business, you are going to set defined rates. You don't want to have clients coming to you and asking you how much you charge, and then you just go, oh, I don't know, I guess I'm maybe, like what's your budget? You know, what do you want to spend for this? $1,500, $5,000? Okay, we'll do $5,000. Like you don't want to come off that way. You need to have defined rates that your business knows. When a client comes to you and they say, this is what we need to do, you can add up the cost and say, this is how much it's going to cost. Okay. The next thing after you set defined rates is you're going to charge those new rates and not back down. This is where most filmmakers get tripped up, because you go to your new client, you say, this is going to be $5,000. And they say, oh, well, we only had a budget for $1,500. And you don't want to lose the client. So you end up bringing your prices down and you do the work for cheaper, which means you end up producing a cheaper product, which attracts cheaper clients. And then you get stuck in this rut where you're always doing cheap work. Okay. So you've got to charge your new rates and not back down. And then inevitably, if you do this right, you're going to lose some clients. Okay. But it's better to get paid more and do less work than vice versa. Okay. So you're going to have spare time, and you're going to use that spare time to find new clients, better clients who are willing to pay your rates. Okay. You can actually, so this is a kind of brief overview of what you're supposed to do. You can actually use the passion project that you just did to help you set your rates. Let me show you how this works. Okay. We're going to create a passion project bid. So now that you've done, you're creating that cinematic look, you've created a passion project. What you're going to do is you're going to take that passion project and you're just going to write down every single expense that you can think of if you were to do that project again. So for example, here's how I would do it for the hotel video. Okay, so first of all, I charged $1,500 a day for me, and I was working kind of like a director and cinematographer at the time. I was not hiring directors or cinematographers or DPs. I was doing it kind of myself. So $1,500 a day for me for 3 days. We spent 3 days shooting that spot. Next, I hired a producer who came on for free to do the project a few years ago. But if he were to be hired, he charges $700 a day, and again for 3 days. And then we also had an assistant there who would be $300 a day for 3 days. So that's our crew. That's our basic crew, right? Moving on to gear, we have a camera and lens package. We're shooting on a Red Epic MX. At the time, and that was $500 a day for 3 days. We had a lighting and grip package. We had a small trailer full of some lighting and grip material, which is $500 a day for 3 days. So that was our gear package that we used for the shoot. Next up, we had a male model, $500 a day, and a female model, another $500 a day for 3 days. And then post-production, did editing at $1,000 a day for a couple of days, and then a music score for $400. And again, I didn't pay for a music score. I actually did it myself, because I'm formerly a musician, so I wrote the music score. But these are all the expenses that it would cost if a client wanted to pay for a project like this. Okay, and the total comes out to $15,900. There you go. Now you have a defined rate, right? So the next time a potential client says, I want a video just like that one, which is going to happen, now you can tell them, well, to create something like that, it's going to be about $15,000. Now, some of you might feel like you're scared to charge that much to your client because, what if you lose the client? Well, here's how I see it. No matter what you're charging, you're always going to lose clients on both ends of the spectrum, which means if this green box here in the middle is what you charge, no matter whether this is $1,000, $5,000, $50,000, you're always going to lose clients on both ends of the spectrum. On the left end of the spectrum here, who can't afford you, or on the right end of the spectrum, who don't think that you're good enough because you're not charging enough. There are people, every client has different expectations as to what to charge, and they value your work at different levels. And so if you've got a client who's expecting to pay $1,000 and you charge $10,000, they're probably going to say no. And if you're charging $10,000, but you find somebody who's expecting to pay $100,000, they're probably going to say no because they're going to assume that you are not at the level that they're looking to charge. So how do you get around this? Well, really what happens is, like I talked about, you calculate what you need, you set defined rates, you decide how much you charge, you tell the client, and if it doesn't jive with them, then that's totally fine. Okay. Again, it doesn't matter if this is $5,000 or $50,000. You will always lose clients on both ends of the spectrum. And here's the thing, we talked about this briefly a second ago, but you can do one video for $5,000 in a month, or you can do 10 videos for $500 and make the same amount of money. So which would you rather do? Work more and make less, or work less and make more? And really, guys, if your work is really as good as it should be and as good as you say it is, you will find that there are clients out there who will happily pay your rate. So there we go. That is secret number 3, how to charge $10,000 and up for your work and get clients who will happily pay it. What do you guys think so far? Has this been good for you? Are you enjoying this? Who's learned something new here? And are you guys excited about this? Okay, awesome. Paul's asking, how do you profit if you have to pay $15,000? Let me cover that real quick. If I go back here, okay, I lost it. I don't have to pay $15,000 because all of these things, there's all of the things that I'm doing here. Cinematographer, $1,500 a day for 300 days, for 3 days, 300 days, for 3 days. That's profit. Camera lens package. I actually own my own camera now, so that's profit. Obviously, you have to pay people to do other things, but editing is also profit. So there is a big portion of this project that ends up being profit because it's stuff that that I'm doing. Okay. Good, awesome. I'm glad you guys are. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. So now I've shown you. This is exactly what I did to go from working for practically free to making over $10,000 per project. But there are 2 more things that I want to cover real quick that kind of fall in the cracks, because I want you to know how I learned all this stuff. I didn't make all this up on my own, but there are 2 specific things that I did where I learned this stuff. For one, I invested in learning. Now, I stopped spending my money on cameras, lenses, a studio, business cards, and all those things, and I started buying books. And lots of books, mostly business books. Okay, learning business, marketing, and sales. So if you're considering buying a new camera or any piece of new gear right now, the absolute best thing you can do is to forget it and take that money and invest it in yourself. And I know that's really hard to hear. People hate hearing that because we're filmmakers. We like the gear. The gear is so fun. The cameras are fun. But the best thing that you can do is take that money and instead invest it in yourself. Number 2 is that I hired mentors. Okay? I actually paid $12,000 to be part of a mastermind group, which was a lot of money that I didn't have at the time. But it was for this mastermind group, which is a group of entrepreneurs that I would work with every week to help me to grow my business. And that ended up being the single greatest asset to my business because I have a support group that holds me accountable to my business and motivates me to keep working hard. And I couldn't have done anything without this. Okay. So those are the 2 things. I invested in learning and I hired mentors. Now that's what I did. Now a question for you is, what will you do? When this webinar is over and all said and done, will you take action and start improving your cinematography? Take the things that I've taught today, go out and make it happen? Or will you, maybe just get off the webinar, be like, okay, that was nice. You go to bed tonight, you wake up in the morning, you're not excited anymore. And you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, back to this, doing the same things that you've always done and continue getting the same results. What are you going to do? Let me know in the chat. Okay. Will you take action and start improving your cinematography now and really put these things to work? Or are you going to take all the excitement that you've felt on this webinar and stuff that you've learned and just forget it as you go to bed tonight, wake up in the morning, and continue doing things the same way you always have and continue getting the same results? Okay, we're making it happen. Awesome, guys. Good. I like to hear that. Let's go, John. Need to go practice right now. Take action. Okay, good answer. Now, what I want to do right now is I want to give you an opportunity to take action and make things happen for you. In the past hour, I've given you a lot of really great information. Would you guys agree? Has this been really helpful for you? But really, like I mentioned at the beginning, in an hour, we're at 54 minutes right now. I've only scratched the surface. There's only so much that I can teach you an hour-long webinar, and it kind of pains me because there's so much that I want to talk about. But I can only cover so much in an hour-long webinar. Like seriously, we've only covered like 5 pieces of a 500-piece puzzle, right? But you're still here, so you know that what I'm saying can help you, and it's up to you to take action. So if you're serious about becoming a better filmmaker and really growing your business, I'm here to tell you that the best and easiest way to do that is to sign up for Cinema Mastery. If you guys have enjoyed this training so far, like if you learned anything, you guys are going to love this. Now, I'm not going to get all hyped up about it, but I am going to tell you about it Some of you are going to want to take advantage of this. So here's the deal. If you feel like this is a good fit for you, I want you to sign up. If you don't feel like it's a good fit for you, I don't want you to sign up, okay? But at least give me a chance to tell you about it. So is that all right if I take 10 minutes here and I tell you a little bit about Cinema Mastery and what's involved? Okay, awesome. Thanks. All right. So here we go. Cinema Mastery is a complete cinematography training course where I literally break down everything that goes into creating the cinematic look and teach you how to create better work and do better business as a filmmaker. Inside this course, you will learn everything that makes the cinematic look. You're going to learn how to get a cinematic image out of any camera. I don't care what you're shooting on right now. I will teach you how to make your images look more cinematic using that camera gear. You're going to learn how to become confident in your cinematography. As you guys know, that confidence is so important in creating good work and working with those clients. And you're going to learn how to build a portfolio and land more clients and double or triple your rates as a filmmaker. And you're going to be able to do all of this with mentorship and a community. Now, remember I told you that I had a mentor. Well, I want you to have the same experience. So I'm going to be your mentor. When you sign up for Cinema Mastery, you'll actually be able to get advice and feedback from me and join a growing community of filmmakers from all over the world who you can network with and collaborate with. And this part is awesome. Like I said earlier, this is one of the most valuable things that I can offer you. So if you've ever thought that you need a better camera to become a professional, or if you've ever felt like you're stuck doing low-paying work for friends, for just your friends or cheap clients, or you feel like maybe there are no big budget clients in your area, or if there are clients, you can't get them to respond to your emails or your voicemails, then these are symptoms that you're doing it wrong. I'm sorry, okay? And it's not your fault. Like, you've been taught wrong. You're doing what you see everybody else doing, but it's not working. And if you do what everybody else is doing, then you're going to get the same results that everybody else is getting, which is not good. So now I want to invite you to do something different. And this is going to give you a huge, huge competitive advantage over your competition. Let me show you some examples of filmmakers that are just like you guys who are making changes and seeing amazing results using Cinema Mastery. This is Jonas, who's one of our Cinema Masters. And this is a frame from an interview that he shot during his first week of the class. Okay. When he finished the course, he sent me this frame grab of a new interview that he shot with all of his new knowledge. I mean, what a huge difference. How many of you guys would love to be able to create this kind of difference in your work? And this happened pretty fast. Okay, here's what he said. He said, today I shot a testimony video and I'm really excited to share just a screenshot of it and show you the comparison with an older video of mine. The top image is a video I shot the first week I took the Cinema Mastery class. The second one was today. The most exciting part is that the lady's grandson came over at the end of the interview and saw the image on the camera screen and he exclaimed, "Grandma, it looks like you are in a movie." Right? That's the idea, is we're getting that cinematic look. It looks like a movie. Joshua says she really aged over the course of that class. That's hilarious. Yeah, these are different people. Okay, so that was Jonas's experience, right? Here's from Corey, another one of our Cinema Masters. He says, if you listen, it works. In less than 2 months, my day rate has doubled and my clients are in another world from where I was. That's just 2 months after starting. He's already doubled his day rate and he's got clients in another world from where he was. Now, Corey actually came back a year later after this. And he said, I got clients for $22,000, then $50,000, and I just got another one at $34,000. Before this class, my day rate was like $150 a day. You changed my life in a few short classes, my man. Big props to you. It was just a simple mental shift. I mean, isn't that amazing? Like, he went from $150 a day to charging $22,000, $50,000, and $34,000 for his work. And these kind of stories are happening all over with our members of Cinema Mastery. Danny, you know Corey. That's awesome. Tell him I said hi. So what do you get with Cinema Mastery? Okay, let's go through like what's in it. The course has over 15 hours of content. It's going to teach you everything that you need to know to create cinematic films, to build a portfolio, and to get high-paying clients. And it's organized into 8 sections. The first section is all about camera settings. So we're talking about how you can set up your camera to get amazing results. Again, no matter what camera you're shooting on, I'm going to show you the settings that you need to get it set up. And again, these are foundational. You have to get these right. You have to get them perfect before you can move on to anything else. This is so critical. And there's so many things in here that you may not have even thought of before. Okay, so that's number one is your camera settings. Number two, we're going to go into shooting fundamentals. Notice that these categories, these modules actually follow the 5 categories that I was talking about earlier. Okay, shooting fundamentals teach you how to build a portfolio in reel, motivate your images, composition, camera support, movement, focal length, getting the fundamentals of shooting down. 3 through 5. So we're actually going to spend 3 of our modules, 3 entire modules. This is like 6 hours of content right here just on lighting. You guys, lighting is absolutely essential. I mean, it's just crazy. You're going to learn the tools that are used by Hollywood professionals to light their scenes. I'm going to teach you all the lighting techniques that will make you look professional. You're going to learn how to light indoors and outdoors, day and night, natural and available light. Any situation, you can confidently light the scene and make it look cinematic. And I'm going to give you breakdowns of scenes so you can see how they were lit and apply those to your own work. Then we're going to move into production design and audio, help you get that big look with a small budget, set up scenes that look professional, and of course, using the right tools to capture clean, professional audio. Even using budget tools so that you can get the best sound. You guys know audio is so important, even for the look of your films, surprisingly. And then we're going to go into post-production, editing, and color. I'm going to show you my editing workflow that you can use in any NLE. Teach you how to work with multi-camera sequences, round trip your files between DaVinci Resolve for color grading, and to color grade your films with consistent, harmonious colors. Okay. So we're not talking about just like throwing a lot on your footage. This is like real color theory that we're going to be going through and talking about and teaching you how to color grade your films so that they look cinematic and they look nice. Okay. And last but not least, we're talking about business workflow and distribution, how to work with your clients, how to get clients, how to work with those clients, and then how to distribute your work so that more people see it. Okay, I'm going to give you all the templates that you need for contracts, call sheets, all the documents you need to run your business, written by real lawyers that I paid money to create these contracts for me. I'm going to share with you the most inspiring business books that I've read, help you to switch up your mindset and get your work seen by the masses. This is everything that I did to make cinematic looking films, work with high paying clients, and make a 6-figure income as a filmmaker. Now, I'm sure by now you guys are all wondering, well, what about the price? Because this is pretty amazing content, and this course is so valuable. There's so much going into this, but I know you guys are just all wondering, what is the price? Well, let's look at it this way. You could get a new camera, which, if you're looking for a decent cinema camera or DSLR, you're going to be spending anywhere between probably $2,000 and $10,000. Okay. I just put it 3,000 here. Okay. You get a new lens, a good, decent stills lens for around $2,000. But again, these things aren't going to do anything for you, right? Like, you need to invest in learning, not gear. If you were to take a class at a film school, you'd be looking at around $3,000 for one class on one topic for one semester. And you're looking at about $3,000. If you wanted to go to film school for a 4-year degree, maybe some of you have done this already, it's tens of thousands of dollars. This is what learning the traditional way is going to cost you. If you wanted like a private cinematography mentorship, I charge $5,000 for that. And if you're looking for like online training resource catalogs for most of them, you're going to be looking at spending around $2,000 to be a member of that. This is the traditional learning model, right? But here's the good news. As far as Cinema Mastery goes, I'm not going to charge you $5,000 for this. I'm not going to charge you $4,000 for this. In fact, I'm not even going to charge you $2,000 for this, because right now, to the public, you can actually get access to Cinema Mastery for just 3 easy payments of $5.99, or a one-time upfront payment of $15.95, where you save $200. This is what the course sells for to the public. Now, for webinar attendees only, for you guys for being here tonight, I'm giving you a special deal. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut the price in half. So literally for less than the price of a mediocre lens, you can get access to Cinema Mastery for just 6 easy payments of $149, 6 payments, or a one-time upfront payment of $795. And if you do the upfront payment, there's a little incentive there. You actually save $100 for doing that. So that's, it's over $800 in savings. So if you're serious about drastically improving your cinematography and multiplying your filmmaking business, I want you to go to cinemamastery.com/start. Now, there's going to be a button down at the bottom of the screen that you can click on that will take you right to it. You notice that there's a timer on it. I'm mostly interested in working with people who are fast action takers, who are the type of people who jump on things, jump on opportunities and make it happen, because I've noticed that they're the type of people who get the best results. So what I'm doing is for the first 5 people who sign up for Cinema Mastery tonight on this call within the next 19 minutes and 35 seconds on my clock, you're going to get a free portfolio review and strategy session. This is something that I'm throwing in for you, absolutely free, normally $500 to get one of these. And what we're going to do is you and I are going to sit down on the phone on a video call, and we're going to talk for 20 or 30 minutes about your portfolio. We're going to go through your portfolio. I'm going to give you all of my thoughts, what I think about your portfolio, what you can work on to improve. We're going to talk about your business and give you a roadmap going through Cinema Mastery that will give you so that you know exactly where to start and get started on the right foot going through this, okay? That's only for the first 5 people. I can't do this for everybody, but for the first 5 people who sign up in the next 20 minutes before the clock runs out, you're going to get this free portfolio review, okay? Now, these calls are super helpful because I actually sit down with you. I look at your portfolio, your business, how much you're making, what your goals are, and we'll develop a personalized strategy for you to start making better films and grow your business fast. Now, when you click on the button below in the chat, Start Cinema Mastery, it's going to take you to this page. It's really simple. You just fill out your information, first name, last name, email, choose your plan, whether you want the monthly or the year or the lifetime, the one-time, what am I saying? The monthly payment or the lifetime or the upfront payment. And then put in your credit card information, set it up, and you'll get sent an email immediately so you can get started into our membership site here, which hosts all of the content. Okay, you can check that out. And then we also have it's also mobile compatible. So if you guys want to take this with you, take it on the road, you can watch videos while you're traveling or whatever. You can take it. You have it with you all the time, so you get access to everything that you need right here all the time. So this is already an amazing deal at $7.95 for all of this stuff. I mean, tell me what you guys think, right? This is a crazy amount of value that you're getting here, but I want to make it even better for you guys. And so I'm going to give you a 14-day money-back guarantee to help you to make the decision. All right. Basically, I could do this because I'm confident that you guys are going to love Cinema Mastery. And so if you're not happy for whatever reason, I will give you a full refund. If you feel like for any reason that this course is not a good fit for you, or it's not what you were expecting, or it's not doing what I said that it will do tonight, I'll give you 100% refund of your money because I'm confident that it is going to do what I told you it will. Now, in addition to that, you're also going to get access to our private Cinema Masters community. Again, this is one of the most valuable parts of the course. So you get a support system just like I had that will help you to stay accountable to your business, motivate you to grow and learn every day. And this is where I'll be answering your questions and giving you feedback on your work. This is kind of what it looks like. You can post your work, you can ask for feedback, you can start ask questions, start discussions, get to know people in this group. And I got to tell you guys, this group is awesome. We have so many great people in here, and we're looking forward to adding some more people to the group. Now, inside this community, not only do you get access to that, but we do once a month these monthly master classes, so you can actually learn from other video professionals, get your questions answered, continue learning new things. This is not a course like where you just download a bunch of videos and you watch them and then you're done and you never hear anything again. You're going to get continued learning month after month, so you can continue growing as a filmmaker for as long as you want. Okay. And then we also do live meetups and workshops. So I occasionally travel around the country. We'll do meetups with you. You have opportunities to get together in person, attend live workshops. You get discounted rates on everything. It's really awesome. And if that's not enough for you, I'm also giving you a behind the scenes pass. This is another really valuable part of Cinema Mastery, where you're going to get to be able to see behind the scenes on our productions at Celadora. So I actually pay a lot of money to get videographers to come and shoot behind the scenes videos of our productions, so that you can see how they're done, and then you can feel confident on your set doing, the work, how to work with the client, how to light your scenes, and everything like that, because you can see exactly how we're doing it at Celadora. So, quick recap: you're getting 15 plus hours of training. You're going to get mentorship from me. You're getting access to the film community and the behind the scenes, and you're getting all of this for lifetime access. So it's just one payment or the 6 payments if that's easier for you. You've got lifetime access to this course. for as long as you want, and all of it at no risk, because if it's not a good fit for you, you let me know within 14 days and I will give you 100% refund on your money. Okay. All of this for just $7.95. And again, for those of you that it's easier for, you can make 6 monthly payments of just $149. All of this at cinemamastery.com/start. Now, this price is going to be available for a short period of time, for 4 days only. Sunday night, I'm closing this down. So the price will go back up Sunday at 11:59 p.m. All right. But so you guys know, once again, as I mentioned before, for the first 5 people who sign up tonight, within the next, where are we at? 14 minutes, you're going to get the free portfolio review and strategy session. Again, I really want to work with people who are action takers, who are going to get on this quick. And so I'm giving you an incentive to do that. Okay. Here's a quick testimonial from one of our members of Cinema Mastery. Mike is one of our Cinema Masters. He's also an actor in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. He's this character that you see here, the Nine Num alien character. And Mike's really awesome to work with. He's also worked at the Muppets and all sorts. He's just done amazing stuff. And he joined Cinema Mastery, wanted to learn how to improve his cinematography skills. And Mike said, I've been on countless productions and been around some of the greatest cinematographers and DPs in the world. I knew how important lighting, lensing, exposure, framing, and camera moves were, but I never felt like I had the real command of this I knew I needed until I signed up for Cinema Mastery. Eric's program can help anyone become a working, paid, and confident cinematographer. He interacts personally with everyone and motivates us to get the best out of our work. He could easily have charged twice as much for this, and it would be worth it. Okay, so there you have it, guys. Cinema Mastery, which comes with the 15+ hours of training, your mentorship and community, 14-day money-back guarantee, exclusive VIP Facebook group, behind-the-scenes pass, and the monthly master classes for just $7.95 or 6 easy payments of $149. So we've got about 12 minutes left on the clock, and a few people signed up already. Once again, thank you guys for sticking around until the end. For the rest of you that were looking forward to this free gift, the Hollywood lighting techniques, you can find this at the same link. Just click the button down below that says Cinema Mastery. Is going to take you to a website. If you scroll down to the bottom of that page, you will find this ebook there. But enjoy it. I hope you guys love it. Check out the ebook and start working on your filmmaking there. So I want to go ahead and jump into some Q&A. If you guys have questions, go ahead and post them in the chat. Ideally, click on the little speech bubble icon, and you can actually change it to ask a question, which puts it into another column for me, which makes it easier for me to see where the questions are. But go ahead and throw your questions in the chat. We're going to spend some time here doing some Q&A for as long as we need to answer your questions and kind of go from there. Okay. Joshua, does this offer expire? Like I mentioned, it will expire Sunday night. So I'm giving you 4 days. If you need some time to think about it or talk to the spouse or whatever, you can take care of that. But the free portfolio review is only available to the first 5 who sign up tonight within the next 11 minutes. Okay. Danny, do you take Bitcoin? No. I'm just gonna go with no on that. Are those payments monthly? Yes. So if you take the monthly plan, 6 payments of $149, they will be monthly. So you'd have one today, January 31st, and then every month on the same date. As far as the lighting PDF goes, you guys, it's right here at cinemamastery.com/start. It's the same button you can click on that's in the chat that says Start Cinema Mastery. You click that button, it'll take you over to the web page. You scroll down to the bottom of the page. It's the order form page, but if you scroll down to the very bottom of the page, you'll see a download button for you to download the free ebook. Okay. Danny says you should take Bitcoin. Corey didn't get you into Bitcoin. I didn't say I'm not into Bitcoin. I just said I don't accept it. That's funny. Travis, I work at manufacturing jobs and I want to do this. Do it, man. Looking forward to working with you. A couple people asking if we are recording this. I am recording this webinar, and I will, in case some of you had to show up late or you weren't able to stay the whole time, I'll shoot you out a replay in case you want to watch it again. Takoya, is it self-guided or are there scheduled classes? So it is self-guided. This is a self-paced course. As soon as you sign up, you have access to all of the content. And as you get into the course, I'll show you kind of how to go through all of it the most effective way. So you can go through it as fast or as slow as you want. Joshua, how many hours on average do you spend making videos like this? If you're talking about like this webinar, a lot of hours. I spent a lot of time producing this. Maybe you're talking about our client work. So most of our shoots are usually 2 to 3 days of shooting. And this is usually for a 1-minute spot. It depends on, the project, obviously. And then usually a couple days of editing after that, spread out over a period of a few weeks or a few months, depending on the client. Cool. Again, if you guys have questions either about Cinema Mastery or about cinematography in general, feel free to post them in the chat and I'll take a look at them. Lighting help is what I need the most. Is it better to learn it myself and do everything myself on set or hiring a lighting pro on a day rate? I think that it is important for you, even if you're going to be a DP and be working with gaffers, it's important for you to learn at least the basics of lighting, because you need to know what you're talking about. Even if you're going to hire somebody else to do it, as a DP, as a cinematographer, you are in charge of the lighting on set, and so you need to know how it works. You need to know what you need to be able to determine what needs to be done in order to get the look that you're looking for. I think that's important. Jared, you're welcome. I spend around 200 hours between editing, animation, music. Is that way too much? It just depends. Like animation can take a long time. Music takes a long time. So maybe not. Like as long as you're charging correctly for it, and you're not wasting your client's time, then that's fine. Obviously, it depends on every project is different. Owen says, early on, did you ever have clients balk at using a cheap camera? This is a question I get a lot. Like, if you're going to be working with, these high-end clients that are paying you a lot of money, don't you have to have an expensive camera? And the truth is that most of my clients have no idea what camera we're shooting on. They don't even care. It's because it's not about the camera. They've seen our work, they've seen the quality of the product that we produce, and that's what they want. And they don't know cameras. They don't know, what the difference is between a big camera and a little one. It's just, they just say, we want you to produce what you produce for us, and we go out and do it. And a lot of cases, our clients, like a lot of times, are not even on set with us, so they don't even see the process really. So I think if you're putting, the emphasis in your business in the right place, in the quality of your work, and not on the gear you use, it should be a moot point. Paul, will you ever offer this half-off discount again? Possibly. If you're on my email list, which you are if you registered for this event, I do shoot out emails occasionally, and I will have other products or have other deals, occasionally things that I throw out, but I don't. It just depends. If you're interested, like, I really recommend jumping on it right now. You've got, again, until Sunday night to make the decision, and again, it comes with the 14-day money back guarantee. So really, if you're on the fence about it right now, any of you, and not really sure whether you should take action or not, remember that you can try it out, and if you really don't feel like it's right, I'll give you a full refund. Do you have a cheaper option for people who cannot afford 6 payments? No, we don't have a cheaper option. That is the best price that I can give you. $149 a month for 6 months. We have other products that are cheaper occasionally that we'll put out there. But for Cinema Mastery, that's the best I can do. Okay, cool. So, if you guys are still on the fence about this, if anybody's out there like maybe not sure, you're like, I don't know, should I take advantage of it or not? I want to tell you guys, like, now is the time to take action. Like you said, you guys would take action, and you need to go to cinemamastery.com/start and get started. Remember, there's no risk for this. I've got a 14-day money back guarantee, which gives you enough time, 2 whole weeks to go through the content, to take a look at it, kind of get your feet wet, check it out, see what it's like, and see if it's a good fit for you. If you're worried at all that something about this isn't right for you, then just try it out, because the only way to know if it's right for you is to get started with this. Paul, do you accept PayPal credit? No, I don't. Not currently. Just credit cards right now. Okay, so our offer for the 5 free portfolio reviews is ending in just 3 minutes. We've got a few people signed up already, so looking forward to working with those guys. Again, if you guys are on the fence, the last chance to get that is going to be within the next 3 minutes. Joshua CC just went to a DNS error. Double check, make sure that you are using https://cinemamastery.com/start. Check your URL, make sure it says https so that it's on the secure server. Otherwise, it won't let you do it. Not letting you submit your credit card information on an unsecured server. So double check that. If that doesn't work for some reason, then just shoot me an email at eric@cinemamastery.com and I'll get you sorted. Scott, is this geared toward people who are currently working full-time, part-time, or aspiring cinematographers that only work occasionally but want to work more? So we have a huge range of people in the course. Some of them have full-time jobs and are doing this on the side and just learning, like prepping to eventually take over and do this full-time. Some people, don't even have the desire to do this full-time. They just want to learn cinematography, and that's totally fine too. Some of them working part-time, and then there's a lot of them that are already doing this full-time, that are kind of pushing it that way. It totally will work for anybody in any situation. Jackie, are the classes at a certain pace, or does it go at your own pace? It's go at your own pace, Jackie. So you've got access to all of the courses, all the course materials as soon as you sign up, so you can go through it as fast or as slow as you want. Okay. Hi, Eric. What business or marketing books do you recommend to read? Well, there's a lot of them. I love business marketing books. They're actually, if in Cinema Master, I have a list of all of my favorite ones and exactly why, with a description of why I love them and where you can buy them at. I will tell you, like, I'll give you one here. There's one that I've read recently that I just absolutely love, and it's called The Pumpkin Plan. And it talks about working with only your ideal clients, only your best paying clients, and kind of ditching the clients who are wasting your time. If you haven't checked out that book and you're interested in material like that, highly, highly recommend it. Very, very good book. Good question. Any other questions, you guys? Feel free to post them. I want you guys to know, if you're a little bit worried about this, as far as Cinema Mastery goes, like, there's, I've told you about my story and kind of how I got started in cinematography, and I want you to know that there's nothing special about me. Like I told you before, I didn't come from money. I didn't get lucky. There's nothing like crazy that happened to me that couldn't happen to somebody else. Like, I literally built my production company from the ground up with real marketing techniques, the stuff that I taught you today, creating cinematic videos, doing free work, doing spec projects and getting it out there and talking to people and charging good rates for my work. And it made all the difference for me. And I want you guys to know that, like, there's no reason why you can't do this if you're worried about it. I kind of had two choices when I was developing Cinema Mastery, And the one choice was like, I could make it really cheap and really affordable, because some of you guys are asking, like, can we get it for more affordable? And the thing is, like, I could have made it more affordable so that more people could get access to it, or I could make it more expensive and, you know, less people would get access, but then I would have more time to actually work with the people who are in it and who are willing to make the investment in their future. And the truth is, like, in Cinema Mastery, in the course, like, I'm actually active in the Facebook group. Like, I'm going to be your mentor and I will teach you how to get to this point. Like, we are so like dead set on helping people to really get results with Cinema Mastery, which is what I think is something that I think makes it different from a lot of courses out there that you'd buy out, maybe like Udemy or Skillshare or something like that are like really low price courses that tons of people take, but you don't get any kind of access to the mentor or the teacher or anything like that, which makes Cinema Mastery a totally different experience. And if you ask anybody who's in Cinema Mastery, they'll tell you that exact same thing. That's, you know, it's like their favorite part about it is that they get access to me, they get access to a community of people that are going to help them. So we actually see people getting results with Cinema Mastery. I think that's huge. All right, so the clock has ended for the 5 portfolio reviews, but remember, guys, that you still, you know, this offer is still available until Sunday night. So you still have 4 days. If you need to think about it, you need to talk to somebody. If you have questions about it, feel free to email me at Eric@Cinema Mastery, and I can get you taken care of there. And we'll make it happen. How did you determine what your rates were in terms of how you broke it down earlier, considering you already own some of your gear? So as far as like owning the gear, I charge just like the going rate for rental for that gear. So no matter whether I'm renting the gear or I already own the gear, the client is still paying the rental cost for that gear. But if I own the gear, I pocket that cost. If I'm getting it from a rental house, then I'm taking that money to get it from the rental house. Good question. Awesome. These are great questions, guys. And again, thank you for being here. I'm really looking forward to working with you guys that signed up for Cinema Mastery. We're going to be working together and making things happen with your business. For those of you that didn't sign up, maybe you're on the fence about it. Maybe, you know, for whatever reason, do me a favor and just shoot me in the chat. Let me know, you know, what your concern is. Let me know what you're thinking about that's perhaps stopping you from taking action on something like this. I'd love to hear from you guys. Just as a way of like getting some feedback from you. Or maybe everybody went home and nobody's watching this anymore. It still says there's 35 people here. Okay, awesome. All right, guys. Well, once again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your questions. I'm glad that you guys had a good time, that you enjoyed this webinar. I'm glad that it was helpful for you guys. And thank you for being here. Once again, if you have any more questions about Cinema Mastery or about anything that I taught today or cinematography, feel free to shoot me a message at eric@cinemamastery.com. I'm usually pretty good about getting around to those and getting those questions answered for you. So happy to do that. Thanks again one last time for being here. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. And, you know, hopefully we'll see you on the next one. So take care, everybody. We'll see you. Bye-bye.